What is up, everyone? Welcome into the video. I'm Jonathan Messer, host of Booby Sports Show, and in this video, we're going to be predicting a very special football game, one that has much tradition, value, pageantry, and that is the SEC Championship. And like it seems like it's been for the past 100 years, it's Alabama, Georgia again. Everyone knows that Bama is 7-1 against these guys in the past eight games. The 8 times they've played, and they're looking to make it 8-1. All right, let's hop into this game. For Bama on offense, what needs to happen? Well, Ty Simpson needs to play good football, efficient football. He needs to be better than he has been the past few weeks. He's been missing some things. Gotta hit that deep ball. Every time they throw a deep ball, it feels like they have a guy streaking wide open downfield, and Ty Simpson just misses him by a finger's length. And a lot of people just dismiss that and they'll hit on the next one. Not necessarily. That's a skill, and they got to get that done. They got to hit it. Some guys he'll be throwing the ball to. Isaiah Horton, he had a big game versus Auburn, 3 touchdowns, 5 receptions. Lotsair Brooks has really stepped up. He's gotten a bigger share of the targets recently because obviously we know Ryan Williams has gone missing. I have a very sneaking suspicion that Ryan Williams is going to show his head in this game. And if he does, it could be a bad day for Georgia. But the headliner now in this receiving core is Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard's a legit receiver. He's a legit NFL receiver, and he does most of their work. He's their leader in receptions and receiving yards, as he should be. Running the football, Jam Miller had a really good game last week. He had over 80 yards against Auburn. Auburn's got a good run defense. But can they produce that again? Is that a one-off? In my opinion, if I had to guess, probably, because it just hasn't been consistent all year. But we'll see when that ball snaps. Josh Cuevas is probably not going to play today. He's doubtful. I'm going to go ahead and predict like he isn't playing because it just wouldn't make sense. He hasn't played. He's a big part of that offense, though. So they're going to have to supplement that, and the best way to do that is to get Ryan Williams going. Okay, Georgia on offense. What do we got? Well, we got a really good running game. Nate Frazier has really stepped it up. Chauncey Bowen's really good. And you see last year, one of Georgia's main gripes, especially offensively, was that they couldn't run the football. And they had some of the same personnel. Well, these guys have really broken that ceiling, and Nate Frazier's is balling, man. Really, really balling. For this receiving core, coming into this year, we thought it was going to be a lot better. We thought this receiving core had the capability to be one of the best in the sport, and it just really hasn't been. But Zachariah Branch is unbelievable. He's a playmaker, and if you look at what's really hurt Alabama on defense this year, yards after catch. And who better to do that? Zachariah Branch. I'd be looking for a lot of quick outs, a lot of slants, because they're going to make Bama tackle him. And getting that dude in the open field, good luck tackling that guy. You also have a really good duo at tight end, supplementing what you lost with Brock Bowers. They did a good job with it last year, and they're doing a good job this year. Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky, 2 really good athletes, can make plays. My question here is this offensive line. We knew that let's be honest, they sucked at the beginning of the year. They've really gotten better. And that's something you see a lot with these big-time teams, with big-time talent, big-time coaches, big-time development. They get a lot better during the year. And it seems like they're peaking right now offensively, on the offensive line at least. And that's good to see. This is when you want to peak. But will they hold up against a pretty good Alabama pass rush? Okay, defensively for Alabama, that leads us into that. They are 40th against the run, so a lot better pass rushing than they are in the run game up front. Um, that's not bad though. 40th is, I mean, 40th against the run is not horrible. That means you're not getting the ball jammed down your throat every game, but there's plays to be made against you. But what really seems to happen in these SEC championships, especially with Alabama, obviously this is under Nick Saban, so we won't know for sure with Kalen DeBoer, but they just rise to the challenge. They rise and meet that level of competition, and they get nasty in the trenches. Could happen here. They're 11th against the pass. Bray Hubbard is an absolute turnover machine. He has 4 picks on the year, and he has 3 forced fumbles. That's their strong safety. Really, really good football player. And the reason they're 11th against the pass is how fresh these DBs are. You know, you can just throw DBs out at you. I know these aren't all in the same position, but this is just the depth that they have. You know, you got Xavier Brown, Dijon Lee, who's a true freshman, who's like 6'8", not actually, but he's super lanky. Keon Sabb, Damani Jackson, Red Morgan, they got guys. And once you start to get towards the end of that game, when you get, because Georgia likes to run and shoot. That's what they like to do. They like to run the ball, take shots. When you get those wide receivers outside blocking a lot and then running deep balls a lot, they're going to get tired towards the end of the game. And if you can just throw DBs at them, it's going to be hard for them to block. And the offensive line will get they're going to wear down. They're going to get tired because they're blocking another legit defensive line in Alabama, these edge rushers. And obviously, extreme discipline is at Georgia. Georgia has extreme discipline. But what you can see start to happen is Bama starts to run a few of those wildcats, few of those cat blitzes off the edge with the corner, or they bring a safety into the box, and they're able to run past the defensive lineman, offensive lineman, because they're just tired, and obviously they can't keep up like that. Throwing a few fire blitzes, coming off the edge, dropping a defensive end, it can wear down that O line to the point where they're missing guys flying off the edge and hitting Gunnar Stockton. Defensively for Georgia, kind of like Alabama. Alabama has an elite linebacker room. Well, Georgia has a really, really good linebacker room as well. C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, Chris Cole, they're really good. Can they be better in the pass rush, though? They're really good at the second level. They're guys who are offset, and their guys who are off the edge are really good at setting the edge. You don't see much get outside of them, but can they pass rush? You're going to have to get after Ty Simpson, and it's going to be hard because this Bama offensive line is elite. Georgia defensively ranks 7th against the run, and they're 46th against the pass. So Bama already can't run the ball. I don't expect them to run the ball well in this game, and I think they've lived without it for so long that I think they're comfortable with that. 46th against the pass isn't bad, and honestly, that stat is skewed because of how bad they were at the beginning of the year. They've really turned it on. Just a Kirby Smart coach football team. They've turned it on at the end of the year, and they're a lot better against the pass. I don't know the statistics, but I'd ballpark it at top 20 against the pass in the past probably 5 games. So they're looking a lot better with that. Okay, let's get into some of my questions about this game and keys to it. I don't have much. I have, can Bama run the ball at all? And that also goes with screen passes, extensions of the run game, tosses, jet sweeps, that type of stuff. Can they do that at all? At all? Because even if it's not super effective, but they can run the ball on early down some, that will help. Is Georgia going to be good at rushing the passer? Alabama's offensive line, like I said before, is absolutely elite. You have an alien at tackle in Caden Proctor. What's he going to what is Georgia going to do? Are they going to just say line it up and we're going to go right at you and fill gap and go, or are we going to stunt a lot? Stunning hurt Bama in the FSU game, but that was week 1, and they really haven't been hurt too badly by it, except for against Oklahoma. Oklahoma got a little bit of the best of them. Who's plus and minus in the turnover battle? Bama has been bad in the turnover margin in the past few games. Oklahoma beat them because Bama was +3 in the turnover margin, and despite being +2 in the turnover margin, Auburn couldn't beat Bama. So they've lost the turnover battle in their 2 last big games. What are they going to be against Georgia? And this is the absolute biggest question, and this, I promise you, this is who will decide the game. Who wins the line of scrimmage? Every year when it's Bama and Georgia, even when Georgia's been favored, it's who wins the line of scrimmage, and Bama comes in and they dominate Georgia up front. That's what it always been. I sit there and I watch it all. Oh my. How are they resetting the line 2 yards every play? 1 yard every play. And if that happens today, Alabama will win. But if Georgia comes in here and dominates the line of scrimmage, they'll win. Okay, let's get into some of the betting stuff here. Georgia is favored -1.5. Although Bama went into UGA and beat them, into Samford and beat them, into Athens and beat them, they're favored -1.5 in this game. Georgia's money line is -116, and this is how close the margin is. Bama's money line is 102, so both of these teams are minus odds in the money line. Very close game. Over-under is 48.5. My prediction, let me preface this by saying this is unbelievably close. Unbelievably close. And when it's this close, I roll with trend. I roll with, oh my goodness, they are 1-7 against Bama in the past 8 games. My gut tells me, I got a pie chart in my gut. I got percentages in my gut, and my gut is saying 53% Georgia, 47% Bama. Well, when there's tradition and history in this game like there is, that 53% isn't enough to override that, in my opinion. So I'm going with Bama until they lose to Georgia. So give me Alabama to win and Alabama to cover. I think Ty Simpson has a pretty good game, but I think Bama wins the offensive, or they win up front. I think offensively they're able to give Ty Simpson 3 seconds pretty much every time he drops back, and that's just unfair for the Georgia secondary to have to cover for 3 seconds every play, and I think Alabama gets it done. Thank you for tuning into the video. We'll see what happens. Tune back in for my playoff prediction after all the games tonight. Thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless. Jesus saves.